Hello everyone and welcome back to the NONA studio for yet another edition of the NONA Sports Show. I'm your host as always, Edgar Rodriguez. To my left hand side, Patrick Deleon, as per usual. Now, we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yes, we
the
do.
NONA season overall has finally ended for real this time. The competitive season ended with the Disney Memorial Day tournament, so we're going to recap how a couple of our teams did there. We have NONA FC news. 2 games have passed since our last show, so we'll recap and look ahead to the next. And then finally, European news. We have Europa League final that happened. We have the Conference League final. We'll briefly mention it. And then, of course, the Champions League final, the big one that is bound to be great this year once again. And then we'll throw in some transfer news to finish off. But, Patrick, ready to go?
Yes. Let's get going. We got a lot to catch up on.
Let's do it. Disney Memorial Day tournament. Now, I remember last week we were like, yeah, the season ended. Well, we had just one more. Of course, at the Wide World of Sports, we had 2008 Orange 2 playing out their last games of the season. Unfortunately, not the results we wanted in the first 2 games. A couple losses. But finishing off with a win, Patrick, and, kind of a consolation win. But if it's the last game of your season, you'd rather it get the 3 points.
I mean, 2-0 win. Not much you can really do apart from the first couple games.
Right.
It's just how you have to end the season. At least you end on a win. Let's be happy with that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Coach Brandon with 2008 Orange 2.
Yes.
Like I said, finishing up their season with a win. Unfortunately, not making it to the playoffs. Coach John, though, with 2013 Girls, his last tournament with the team, he's going to move on to 2014 Black, who's going to be one of his teams next year. So he's going to have a different team for next season. But with this 2013 Girls, this cycle ends, and they made it to the final, unfortunately losing the Lake Nona Derby, Patrick, to OCLN. A 3-1 loss in the final. Now, we were there for the final. We scored a penalty. That was our goal. And then it was halftime by 1-1. It was 1-1 by halftime. Other way around. But then, 2 late goals from OC, seals the deal for the Lions.
Man. It's harsh. It's always a harsh way to lose.
It really is.
But, I mean, they did their job in the beginning. They did what they needed to do, unbeaten in the group stages, I guess that you would call it, right? Group stages.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, making it to the final. Of course, it's always an achievement in itself, making it to the final, but it's just a cruel way to kind of go down, but that's part of it.
And in these Disney tournaments, you know how it is. First place only. None of this, the best 3, the best 2. No. You have to finish first in your group. They did just that. They were able to make it to the final again. And, when you come up against OC, especially OC like Nona, you always kind of feel...
It's always a bit scrappy, isn't it?
It's always a bit scrappy. It's always a huge game, and the players always know that.
Yes.
But also, let's talk a little bit about the teams that they played on the way to the final. Swan City, a familiar foe. That's okay. Coamo FC, Patrick, straight from Puerto Rico. Which is interesting. These Disney tournaments always bring teams from everywhere.
Yes, they do.
Teams that you usually don't see. We usually play them here at Disney. And then also West Ottawa. It's always interesting to play.
What a trip.
Play different, competition.
Yeah.
You have Florida Premier, you have Rush, you have, West Florida Flames. But to play these different teams is always fun.
It's always having that fun experience from, just different parts of the country and the world, obviously. It's always a lot of fun. It's because it's just so many different playing styles as well, and it's new to you, but it's new to them as well. So it's like it balances out, but it's a lot of fun. I've always loved that aspect.
And they did the best they could. Of course, as always, John was telling me how at the start of this year, he was like, out of the 14 or so girls that he had, 5 were absolutely at the level. But then all the rest were, he had a few rec girls as well, and each player got better. And when we talk about the goal of a coach, the goal of a team, it's to be like, look at the first game and look at your last and see notable improvement. And he absolutely saw that. And that has to be the goal for any coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. I mean, you want to see that development. That's the whole point, right?
Exactly.
To develop your players, and as a player to be able to develop.
Yes.
It's exactly what you want to see. And I think making it to the final kind of proved that a little bit. Like, absolutely. They were competitive. They were strong enough to finish at the top and then make it to the final. Of course, again, yeah, they didn't win, but I think that shows the progress. That sums it up perfectly, I think.
Yeah, and they had to deal with lots of different obstacles as well. In the first game, a rain delay. I mean, the girls were all lined up, ready to go on the field. The referee was just pumping up the ball, and then we hear the announcement. You have to go. We have to walk all the way to the baseball field. We were on field 3, which is on the complete opposite side. Wait like an hour and a half to get just game 1 going. And then in the final, again, the game got delayed. There's always a bunch of games happening at Disney. So these things are nothing new, but yeah, they had to face a lot on the way to the final.
Yes.
So great job to both of our teams at the Memorial Day tournament. We always love going to the wide world of sports and always just proving ourselves against the very best. Now, really, the next time an academy team plays will be the 2009 black team at the Elite 64 Nationals.
Yes.
We'll be back there in July. So, full focus on NONA FC now, well and truly.
Yes.
And then, of course, gearing up for the next competitive and rec season. Once that gets closer, of course, we'll preview that in more detail. But that about wraps up the first segment. Just one tournament to look back on, and one final as well to close off our season. But now we have to switch our attention to USL2. What has happened since the last time we were here talking about our Longhorns?
A lot.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
There. At Migaloo Pool, we make pool care easy, convenient, and hassle-free. We're your one-stop shop for everything your pool needs. Whether it's regular cleanings, equipment repairs, or even a completely pool remodel, our experienced team is ready to handle it all. You can trust us to keep your pool sparkling and running perfectly. Looking for supplies? Stop by our Orlando store. It's stocked with all essentials and extras to keep your pool in top shape. With Migaloo Pool, it's all in one place. Professional services, quality supplies, and a team that cares about your pool as much as you do. Let's make pool care simple and enjoyable. Contact us or visit our store and see how Migaloo can make a difference for you.
All right, everyone, we are back after a quick segment one, like we said, just one tournament to look back on, but a couple of USL2 games to look back on now for our NONA FC boys. Patrick, why don't we go back a week or so now? Our first road trip of the year, we call it a road trip, it's more of a
drive on the road.
Yeah, right, literally. Half an hour drive to Showalter Field in Winter Park to face Brookhouse FC. And it was a successful trip, a 3-0 win for your NONA FC Longhorns. Kraus brace, Brandon Garungo as well getting a goal, but Kraus early start and a late finish.
And you know what's crazy is that he easily could have had at least 3, at least a hat trick, at least.
How many times did he hit the woodwork at the start of the second half? Twice?
Like twice, yeah.
He could have had.
He was
way
there.
Uglier for
absolutely. This, not just from Kraus, but I mean from the team as a whole, this game easily could have finished like 6-0.
It could have.
Easily.
It could have.
It was just kind of one of those games where you had to kind of force the ball to go into the net a little bit because it just didn't want to.
You're
but
right.
Any other day, it feels like, it could have easily been like a 6-0 drubbing. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. I mean, it was a great performance overall. I think the boys were super confident heading into it anyway, especially coming off, the 2-0 over Brevard at home. This is another great way to kind of get the season going. Okay, try to distance ourselves from the rest of the pack a little bit. They did just that at the time. So another 3 points on the record.
Yep.
3-0. Pretty convincing and solid win.
Absolutely.
Heading into another game just a few days later.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk a little bit more about this Brookhouse game because we also had a few offside goals.
Yes, we did.
One that Benny tucked in. We saw a replay. Not fully convinced that it was offside, but we'll let it slide. We still got our 3 goals.
Right.
Apart from Kraus, any players stood out to you?
I mean, I've always said Felipe. He's always been the one that's convinced me the most.
Fantastic.
He's always been the one that I feel like has been a great addition out on the wing. Absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
I also just love, I know we've talked about this before, but I always also just love how Jamon, when he comes off the bench, he's almost just
spark
like,
of energy.
It's like, we have to play this guy now, like off the bench, you know what I'm saying? Like for the opposite team, it's
Absolutely.
like, it's a guy that you kind of want to really break down the offense because he's just so aggressive. He very much like, not literally punches you in the face, but he brings that. It's like, as the opposition, he's just so aggressive and so up front, it's like, okay, like it makes the opposition work a little bit more when they're already kind of beaten down and tired in this scenario.
Yeah.
So he's a very, very good player to kind of bring on, but I want to see him start. I really do.
Okay.
I think he would be, for certain matchups, I think he would be amazing to start, to really just haggle with, force the offense, work with him a little bit more, and then really just kill them near the end. But I mean, I think he works both ways, either as like that substitute off the bench, or he can start. I love his presence on the field.
We talk about it only have been 1-0 at halftime.
Yes.
Again, it could have been many more. Those first 10 minutes of the second half is probably the best football I've seen.
Oh, they were just on top of it. They were just on top.
It was just relentless.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that we didn't score in that period is a bit disappointing, almost in a way, because, man, it could have been so much more, like we said.
Absolutely.
But those first 10 minutes, I think we'll look back on it as one of the best periods of play, like, of the whole season, because it was, talk about not letting the opposition breathe. I mean, it was just that. I mean, it was shot after shot after shot
honestly,
after shot.
not even just that, but also, like, the whole game, it felt like Nona just dominated. We just dominated. Yeah. I didn't feel any threat. Maybe once
from
in the second half, right?
Kick,
but even still, it's very much like, oh no, the boys, they can handle that.
Now that you mentioned that, actually, shout out Parker Christensen.
Yes,
making his NONA FC
clean
debut.
sheet and a couple really good saves
especially
near the end as well.
End. Yes, I mean a great
Keeping
foot save that just keeps memory.
Yes.
He had an absolutely beautiful debut in goal. He's been with the club for 3 years now. This is his third season. So he's been here for, 75% of our USL2 journey. Finally getting his first start. Much deserved for Parker. And as a goalkeeper, didn't have to do much until then, like we said.
I mean, I feel like that's what you should be able to do.
That's what you'd like.
Right? I mean, but again, I was like, maybe let him get like a flashy save in there, just to make it feel more memorable. And he did. I was like, you know what? There you go. That's exactly what you wanted. 3 points, clean sheet. Cannot complain.
Can't complain, of course.
Can't get better.
No, not really. And then Brandon Nyagarungo as well.
Of course.
With a goal. He had a great NAIA season last season, obviously. So to get on the score sheet off the bench as well, just a testament to the hard work he's been putting in as well. Unfortunately, it's time to move on from Game 2 into Game 3. Now, we were back
hectic
home.
day.
Oh,
overall.
Just from the start to finish.
From the start.
It happened this past Sunday at home against Sporting Jacks. Now, sort of the day, setup was okay. It was a sunny, beautiful day.
Out of nowhere, rain.
The rain just did not stop for like an hour and a half after the game was about to start, and for like an hour before.
And even when it wasn't raining hard, it was just the lightning.
The lightning is the problem.
The lightning, I mean, the rain, it was bad, maybe for like an hour, but once it calmed down, there was still just lightning. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know how the rules are. We can't start, blah, 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 blah.
10-mile radius.
I get it. But man, it was just like, oh, this is going to be you can already tell like what the vibes were kind of building up to for the rest of the night, I think.
Absolutely. Let's just fast forward, really, because a bunch of nothing happened. We went and got the food.
Yes, we did.
That was the funnest thing we did in that time period. It was delicious, by the way.
Yes,
anyway,
it was.
Kickoff at what?
8:30-ish, 8:40-ish.
I was going to say 8:45. I think the ball started rolling. Sporting Jacks, fair play to them. They came out of the blocks.
They did. They really. I think they saw this as the opportunity because, I mean, as a player, as a coach, whatever, you have to take into account. Okay, traveling from Jacksonville. Okay, rain delay. Ugh.
Are we gonna play?
It's already gonna be a late return back to Jacksonville.
Yep.
And I'm sure, us overall as NONA, we were probably feeling more confident since, rain delay, they're going to already feel beaten down, right?
Yep.
So could that have been the moment where we maybe slipped up a little bit and underestimated just how hungry Jacks were in coming here? They're already here, the delay, make it worthwhile in the sense, right? They were close or near or at the bottom of the table come heading into this matchup.
Absolutely.
So now you start off the game, they're already kind of, they're putting us on a little bit of a back foot here. So where exactly did that switch of mentality almost happen the question.
I think it was during that delay.
It's always a delay. Delays are always like the make or break points,
Absolutely.
I feel like, whether you want to admit it or not.
You're ready to go. you're in the mindset for a 7 p.m. game. You get there a couple hours,
and then
before,
you start closer to 9. Okay,
then you start to see the clouds rolling in, and it just throws everything out
absolutely, 100%,
out of
100%
normality.
Yes.
I think we did start a bit flat.
Yes,
I think
we
it
did.
hurt us. Sporting Jacks, of course, Joey Mueller for us UCF Knights. Very familiar name. He is part of our program over there.
Yes.
Beautiful finish to the far post. Made it very difficult for Steiny, who had his first start, to get down in time.
Yeah.
So a great finish from their end. And then, Patrick, we have to talk about the yellow cards. I mean,
They're
5.
everywhere.
5 in just the first half.
Yeah.
We talked about them having 2 red cards in their first 2 games. We're like, we're on this same trajectory.
Yeah.
Very stop and go first half.
Yeah.
Very aggressive
Very,
first half from their end.
on the field. Like I was telling you, you know, I was on the field because I'm there with my camera and everything,
course,
and I'm hearing everything. Make sure to check the last episode and
By
the
the time
next
this
one.
comes out, the first 3 will be out.
Yes,
so
they will. So
please
shout
get
out.
that.
Anyway, so being down on the field, I'm just listening to everybody from both sides, and I'm like, man, this is gonna be a rough game. Like you could already tell, kind of from kickoff, this is gonna be a tough one.
And honestly, it's not our game. That is not really
No,
our style
it's
of
not.
play. We like to have the ball, calm.
Yes.
But Sporting Jacks always come in and like their fouls.
Yes,
they like to get under your skin.
And I think they
Absolutely
did just that. I think they really did because, fast forward to the second half, a harsh moment that really, I think, maybe put the game out of reach for us was the red card.
Let's
backtrack a little bit. Yes.
Before we get to that, Benny Monteiro did it again. He was sitting
just
to your left-hand side not
yeah.
too long ago. Beautiful free kick. First goal of the season. And then Bruno, during training the other day, was like, they set up in such a low block and their wall of 4, defenders and midfielders did a great job of staying compact the whole game. The one time that we had any bit of space.
That he squeezed through, did his little bit of footwork, and just curled it into that far corner.
How good is he?
It was a beautiful finish. Beautiful finish.
And it gave us a bit of momentum.
Yes, absolutely. I think from there is like, okay, things were going up. Yes, absolutely, 100%. I agree.
Then a scrappy corner given away.
Yes.
Noah Daniels gets the final touch, puts it in the back of the net. Again, we talk about a crowded 6-yard area. I mean, Steiny just had nowhere to move. Unfortunately, on our part, didn't get fouled.
Right.
I do think the ref was good on that. On that, in that instance. But I mean, man, what a tough way for them to get back in the lead from our perspective. Yeah. A corner, you think, we'll deal with it. But man, it was so scrappy.
And that was the thing. Like for me, like Jackson, playing very scrappy, like ugly goals in my opinion. But like at the same time, that doesn't matter as long as it doesn't matter how you score as long as you win, right? And that was the game they had to play. They knew it, and they got it done in that sense. And again, going back to that, second yellow for Pablo.
Yes.
Right? Paulo, sorry.
Paulo Alves getting sent off. Now, we spoke about this after the game, and we were like, okay, we kind of knew Sporting Jacks' style. It was going to be a lot of that. However, once those first couple of fouls went in, the referee tried to let it go.
Right.
But then the yellow cards started flying out. And that did not stop. 47th minute, Paulo gets his first yellow. And then 64th minute, so what, less than 20 minutes after getting his second yellow, we saw it back. Unfortunately, it was a hand to the face. And whether it was intentional or not, we can argue all day long.
But it was at the end of the day. At the end of the day, hand to the face. It's worth a card. So either way, it was over for him. And I mean, like, I think that's when we were like, oof, it's gonna be a hard climb back to get on top of this one. But even still, I mean, it's just that whole game all around had that like just that environment, the ambiance around of like
hostile
it's gonna be a rough one regardless, whichever way it goes.
So then after that, it took us, of course, it always takes a team whenever you get a red, a few minutes to adjust.
Yeah, absolutely.
A few minutes to kind of get your bearings once again. But around, I would say 10 to 15 minutes after that happened, I honestly forgot we were playing with 10.
At points,
we, again, took control of the game again. Unfortunately, the final third product was not what we were looking for, the game kind of became a back-and-forth battle. We were throwing numbers forward, and then whenever Jacks got the ball, they would also bomb forward, and we would have like 3v2 situations at the back. Thankfully, they didn't add on. Talk about Steiny. Great saves as well to keep it at 2 when it could have easily gone out of hand.
I agree.
But, again, it was just an ugly game from the first to the last.
It was a harsh loss. That's what it was. But I think, like I tell you, I think it's better to get this loss out of the way.
That was my question. Is it best to just get it out of the way, reset, of course, a week in between? It must be the perfect... If there's ever a time to lose, it must be this.
Now? Because then you just have a gauntlet of games coming soon.
Quick and fast.
Regroup this next week, right? Focus, all right, look at what went wrong. What exactly went wrong? Hone in on those skills, right? But, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Better to lose now than later when you really need to win. Because, something I think about a lot whenever I say that is Argentina losing to Saudi Arabia in the last World Cup.
Perfect example.
I understand maybe I'm comparing Argentina to us a little bit, but
completely valid.
Losing to Saudi Arabia was like, oh my gosh, like
it's over.
It's over already. But then they were on that point. I was like, okay, they literally cannot lose anything from here on out, or else they were out of the World Cup. And look what happened out in the end. Obviously, one of the best stories, in the century.
100%.
But I mean, that's how I see it. Better to lose now
when you have time to reset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you still have the length of the season to go.
Yeah.
You still started off good. 2 wins in the first 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to come home at least with a point, at least with this one, especially in a game that we all thought was more or less winnable.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Better to lose now, bring us down to ground a little bit, but back to earth. Regroup and then push for the rest of the season. Just use that as fuel to keep going.
I agree. I agree. Already for game 4, we have a familiar opposition. We have Brevard at home again. Mm-hmm. Of course, game 1 and now game 4, and then we don't play them again till the penultimate game of the season. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Brevard a little bit. Of course, we beat them 2-0 in the first game. Then they went to Brookhouse, lost 2-1. Mm-hmm. Then game 3. 3-0 against Sporting Jacks. Now, that has to be the surprise of the season so far. No one saw that coming.
I think it just shows that
any team can take points off of
exactly. This division is competitive enough where you can never be fully sure as to what to expect, and everybody's taking points off of everybody. I mean, clearly, we've already experienced it ourselves. Yeah. We've already lost points to Jacksonville, So, but these are why these matchups matter so much more because 1 point... a 1 goal, makes all the difference at the end of the standings. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Talk about a 3-0 win against Sporting Jacks. Then they went to Gainesville and lost 4-1. Talk about opposite ends of the spectrum. Before they play us on Tuesday, June 3rd, they will play Brookhouse at home. So they will have a bit less rest. They have a much more front-loaded schedule compared to us. But yeah, the imbalances, the differences in the number of games you've played during the season, stuff like that, definitely plays a role. And yeah, they come in 1 win, 3 losses. We come in 2 wins, 1 loss. So hopefully 3 points, another opportunity. Make sure to circle that on your calendar. June 3rd, NONA against Brevard, right here at Austin Tyndall. It's going to be great to be back at the stadium and hopefully back on the win column. That's enough of NONA FC though for this episode. Let's talk some transfers. Of course, the summer is going to ramp up, and already some big names have made some big moves. So let's end the episode on that. Stay tuned.
Something new, something fresh. Yeah, I'm super obsessed. Let me know when you done messing. A little that, a little this, then you put it to the test. It's all in the expression. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a state of mind. And now I want it more. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a state of mind. Okay, you got the floor. It's looking good. I kinda like that. I kinda really like that. It's looking good. I kinda like that. Come on, let's see some more. It's looking good. Keep it going, get it right. Not a trouble inside. You can't argue with perfection. Ooh, you working something up with a little bit of luck.
Thanks for staying with us now for segment 3, as promised. We always have to keep an eye on European football, and we're going to do just that. We've had some huge, and I mean huge, European finals to look back on, to look ahead to. Now that I said that, the Europa League final wasn't that huge, was it? Tottenham against Man United. What a complete
what a story
mess of a
just
game.
leading up. It was...
Talk about the goal they scored, because When you say Tottenham Man United, close your eyes. Imagine the goal.
Let's give us like 3 seconds of silence. Imagine what could possibly happen in a matchup like that.
A handball own goal from
Luke Shaw.
From Luke Shaw, 1 foot away from the goal.
That's as Tottenham and United as it could possibly get on
Deleon?
a
Try to
final.
explain it.
You can't
explain it.
But it's almost poetic, you know. You can't think of any other finish for those two teams, and one of the worst seasons for both teams in a final that they somehow both reached. You know, like what are we doing?
It's laughable.
What is going on here?
Oh.
Tottenham, I mean, they'll be happy they still won, but it's like, you know, putting them aside, just like for any final, I feel like you want to win a final, like you really want to make it your own, you know, like grab it by the scruff of the neck and just dominate, right?
Yep.
And we did not get that.
No.
But I mean, it's like, did we expect to get that
Not
from
at
Agent?
all.
No.
Not at
but
all.
It's like, yeah, you won, but it's also like, what are we looking at right now?
It became a reality, and man, it was such a.
Oh my gosh.
You know, United came close at points. We have to shout out Van de Ven. Unbelievable clearance off the line, acrobatic. I mean, as good as you'll see on the biggest stage at the biggest moment of that game, because that goal goes in and you never know what happens.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about Ange, because he has become a bit of a hero as of late after winning that. Of course, his famous quote that he doesn't usually win things the second year. He does win things. He always wins things the second year. Came true. And you gotta give him his flowers.
Yeah, absolutely.
As terrible as they've been domestically, he got Tottenham's trophy. He's done what has been impossible for the last 17 years.
Yeah, he got them Europa League. I mean, was it ugly in the final? Yeah, but I mean, leading up to it, they convinced they got it.
Yeah.
That's a trophy for the cabinet, right? They have to be. I don't think they care. No, they don't care. As long as they won, that's all that mattered, right? But now it's like, okay, now what does Tottenham? Where did they go from here?
That's the interesting part. They're going to the Champions League.
Yes, they are.
Losing 22. Yeah, that's right.
Premier League
games. Did you hear that right?
Yes, 22
losses in the Premier League. The last game on Championship Sunday, they lost
4-1 to Brighton.
At home.
At home.
And they're going to play Champions League. And everyone ridiculed Arsene Wenger for saying that the Europa League champions shouldn't play Champions League. And vice versa for the Conference League. This validates that argument. Do I agree with that? Probably not. But
I'm like half and half on it, because you think about it, I feel like any other year, you know, like a Europa League finalist would at least be, you know, near the top of the table
and
somewhere.
Deserve the Champions League at the end as a prize, almost, as a reward.
But like we're talking about Tottenham United literally at the bottom of the table, removing
17th against 16th.
Removing, you know, the bottom three obviously, but it's like, yeah, I can see his point.
Now that you mentioned that, Tottenham finished the Premier League season with 39 points.
Yes.
Right? And at the start of the season, when we're talking about the relegation fight in the Premier League, really the saying is get to 40 and you're safe. In 7 Premier League seasons, Tottenham would have been relegated.
Wow.
In 7.
Wow.
In 7 separate campaigns,
they would have been
that would have been sending Tottenham to the championship.
Wow. So that, I mean, they're just, like, I know we've said this before, but we're just lucky. They're just lucky that the teams below them were somehow even worse.
We're so bad.
They're just lucky. Because any other year, yeah, they probably go down.
We have ridiculed Tottenham so far. And, you know, as an Arsenal fan, I said I wasn't going to watch the trophy lift. I did not. I did see a video of it after, and it made me sick. Anyway, for United, this is going to encapsulate not just this game, but the season. Can you spare me 2 minutes?
Yes, go off.
Here we go. Club records for Manchester United. They finished 15th, the worst ever in the Premier League era. Most defeats in the season for them, 18. It's not as bad as Tottenham, but 18. Longest league winless streak, 8 games. Joint most home defeats in the season, 9. At Old Trafford, 9 losses. Okay? Lowest scoring season in the Premier League, 44 goals. Joint third most goals conceded in a Premier League season, 54 goals they let in. Second most goals conceded in all competitions in a single season. They let in 83 goals in all competitions. Again, these are records they broke Club records they broke.
Club records, yes.
Worst ever points tally in the Premier League, 42. Talk about the 40 being the watermark. Just barely
Just escaped.
over. Second fewest clean sheets in a Premier League season. They played 38 Premier League games, 9 clean sheets.
You're telling me there was
They broke
worse?
all those records.
Wow.
Can we move on now?
Wow. Well, and I guess shout out to them losing to, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Asian? I think it's just Asian, but it's like the Southeast
the
Asian All-Stars in Malaysia.
1-0, well done.
1-0.
Keep it going.
just a bonus fact in there. Throw that in there. Literally, what's going on?
I was going to spare them that, but thank you for bringing it up. Because
it has to be thrown in there. A little bit.
for Man United, it's embarrassing.
Both teams.
It's embarrassing.
Rough.
It's very embarrassing.
Very rough. Where do they go from
Amarim
here?
has his work cut out for him.
Absolutely. It looks like we're already going to see kind of an exodus of players leaving. Garnacho looks on his way out.
To find another club.
On his way out. 100%. Where he goes, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just get rid of this whole team, man. Get
reset.
rid of it. Like I've been saying, just have the balls to get rid of cut everybody. I'm so serious. Cut everybody, start from scratch.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Cut everybody, start from scratch. But we already know how that's going to go.
And then Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the owner, is already talking about how they'll run out of money by the end of the year. I mean...
That's your fault for being a terrible spender. Like, I'm sorry. That's on you.
It is terrible.
That is on you.
Last point on this, because we can go on for hours
I think we
about
could,
how terrible.
Yes.
And honestly, it's kind of enjoyable. But anyway, how crazy is it that, okay, we talk about Tottenham playing Champions League. Amarim has been very public about saying United wouldn't have been ready for Champions League.
No, they would not.
It's the same thing with Tottenham, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. They have their work cut out for them over the summer. They really have to get their stuff together. I mean, absolutely. Like, who do they bring in, Yeah, they suffered through a lot of injuries this year, yes.
Sure.
However,
but
you still should not be that low on the table. You are still... I want to say you're still Tottenham, but it's also like, oh, well, you're Tottenham. So, it's like, what do you even say to all this?
Yeah.
What do you even say to all that?
My younger brother, who's a Bayern fan, was like, oh, we're going to have another 7-2 that play Tottenham in the Champions League.
Oh, man.
So there you
go.
That. Before we move on to preview the Champions League final, though, we can't forget, day of recording, Betis Chelsea in Warsaw for the Conference League final. We are both rooting for Betis, so
I think
come
so.
on,
We'll
Betis.
check back on that next episode. Obviously, when we have more time to really discuss it and see how it plays out. For sure.
We will be not just recapping that next week, but also recapping the Champions League final, which we will preview right now.
Yes.
So, PSG Inter Milan. Let's start with talking about the paths to the final that these two teams had. Honestly, at the start of the semifinals, you wouldn't have said PSG Inter as the favorite.
I don't think so at
all. But hey,
it happened that way, yeah.
PSG, let's talk about their path. All Premier League path, very coincidental in that way. Liverpool in the round of 16s, they won on penalties, and they deserve to win on penalties. Liverpool got absolutely outplayed. Probably the first time we said that this season. PSG were the culprits of that. Villa. Remember that insane second leg in the quarterfinal. Talk about how important it was for them to score that third goal in the first leg. Yeah, it was. 5-4 on aggregate. Could have easily been the other way around. And then Arsenal in the semifinal, 3-1. Comfortable in the second leg in the end of the day. Outplayed Arsenal in the first leg as well. What do we think about PSG's path? Was it nice for them? Did they get to look at the draw,
I
quote-unquote?
still don't think that any of their performances still fully convinced me.
I agree.
Fully. Yes, they absolutely deserve to go through Liverpool because Liverpool could not, for the life of them, break them down.
I think
whatsoever.
Liverpool was the peak. I think that was the best PSG we saw.
Yes. I mean, was it kind of scrappy? A little bit. But I mean, Donnarumma had an amazing campaign overall, not just in that game, but that was a highlight. Like, that's where we really saw, okay, wow, like, they have some real skill in the back. But I think that, for me, that's as high as my praise will go. I'm putting my bias aside. I'm trying to. But it's like, when you compare them to Inter and Inter's path, which we'll get into in a second, they just don't convince me enough that they really were able to prove themselves that they're deserving to win the Champions League this year. They definitely have the skills.
And the players.
But, but I just don't. They just don't convince me fully enough. Like even against Arsenal, yeah. I mean, second leg, convincingly, they handled Arsenal.
Sure.
Unfortunately for you, right
Very
now.
unfortunately.
But I mean, even still, it's like they just don't feel as fluid as I've seen. I feel like every other team play.
No, and I just go back to that quarterfinal. And I
Yeah.
remember all of those chances that Villa had, and
Yeah, they were just unlucky to not put them away.
Man,
Yeah,
that could have been the end of the road for PSG.
Yeah. Yep.
They got away with one at Villa Park, especially. Let's talk about Inter's path because you were telling me you thought it was a harder path, and now the more I look at it, I agree. Feyenoord in the round of 16. I mean, yeah, you expected them to win comfortably. They did 4-1 on aggregate. Quarterfinal though, it was Bayern.
Yeah,
And
already.
we talked about Bayern having that, you have the chance to play the final at home, riding on this. But even still, I mean, what was it? 2-2 in the first leg, and then or
pretty sure it was 2-2 in the first leg.
okay, or 2-2 in the second leg.
One or the other.
Anyway, Inter won out. Yes,
Yes.
it was 2-1 in the first leg.
Yes.
Of course, for Tacy winning, and then of course 2-2 in the second leg. And then Barca in the semifinal. I mean, 7-6.
Already, yeah.
An all-time Champions League
Oh,
classic.
yeah, 100%. 100%.
What an insane
And you know what's
turn of
crazy?
events.
You know what's crazy is that for both of those teams, you can't even say that a player had a bad game.
No?
No. Like, sure, you can
No.
7-6, there was a bunch of goals flying in. But you have to understand that the offense for both teams were just unreal. Like, I can't say like a player had a bad game. Like
I can't
even
think of
Yamal in the second leg, even though he didn't score, he was just creating. It was just Sommer was in goal. He was just
Sommer.
stopping everything
Sommer.
from. You know what I'm saying?
My
Like
gosh.
so for me, I think Inter coming out on top of Bayern and Barca and this fashion, proving that we can still one up you just a little bit more until the end. For me, that convinces me a little bit more that they have the grit. They can dig deep and find a way to win in that sense. So can PSG. But I think Inter did it against opponents that I feel like any other year you would argue that, or really any other day, you would argue, okay, they're probably favorites or they're going to win Champions League. Like I had almost full belief that Barcelona would go to the final.
Right?
Yeah. And for me, it was, okay, Inter, Barcelona, winner of the Champions League is going to be one of those two. Inter got it through in extra time. I have full belief that they can handle PSG
I think
comfortably.
so, and I think Inter are the more mature
Yes,
side.
yes, exactly.
They'll have the know-how.
That's what I wanted you to say. Yes. Yes.
You're welcome. They'll know how to get through this.
I think so.
I think a little better than PSG.
Yeah.
Of course, a very young side. Has this final come too early for PSG, for this crop of PSG players? Of course, they have their experience sprinkled in there, of course, especially in their defense. However, I think Inter, at the biggest moment, I mean, they've been here before.
They've
and of
been
course,
here.
they lost against City.
Yeah.
Again, a very close one, 1-0. They haven't won the Champions League in, around over 10 years, I believe, at this point. The last one was with Mourinho. I think it was 2010, their last Champions League. Lots riding on it. PSG, of course, still looking for their first. Well, from PSG's perspective, if they didn't want to face a team, like you said, it was either Inter or Barca.
Yeah.
And here we are. And they're going to face Inter, a team which we know is super solid at the back. Maybe 7-6 doesn't reflect that.
Right.
But still, they got through what was an incredible challenge.
And I think Inter also kind of have a bit of a chip on their shoulder as well because they let go of Serie A this year. They let go of it, and they had
happily,
it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think now they're like, okay, well, they got to make something out of it. Champions League is it.
Yeah.
It's make or break.
Napoli and Inter won their last games in Serie A, but Napoli did it again.
They climbed out, and they did it on top. They took advantage of Inter going on a brief losing streak for a little bit. So
at
that's
the
all it took.
worst
That's all it
possible time.
took.
Yes, absolutely. Those are the fine margins that we're playing with. Predictions. Inter European
Inter. I
champions?
have to go into. I have to. I think
I
so.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm leaning Inter. Let's say 60-40 Inter.
Yeah.
We'll give PSG the
Yeah,
credit.
I'm leaning Inter.
Yeah.
I just think they can edge out PSG
The
a
more I
little
think
bit.
about it, the more I agree. The more
Yeah.
I agree. Inter, you heard it here first. You will win the Champions League final. Knock on wood, we don't jinx you. Anyway, let's finish off with some transfer news
Yes.
departure, whatever exit news. Kevin De Bruyne
His time is up at City.
won't be wearing the blue of City anymore. However,
It looks likely.
he'll stay in a darker shade of blue at Napoli.
And you know
And I
what?
like the move.
I see that. I can see
I
that.
love the move.
I can see that. I think that would work. I think Italy would suit him pretty well.
Forget Saudi, forget MLS.
Yes.
For now.
No, but
De Bruyne is
stay in
still
Europe,
at
stay
the
in Europe.
level to play for Napoli, who will be playing next season as Italian champions. They'll be in the Champions League.
Did he have a bit of a rough year this year with City? Yeah, but the City as
Everyone
a whole was pretty rough.
Everyone did.
So
Every
you
single
can
one
maybe
did.
put like an asterisk a little bit. I think Italy would perfectly suit him because I like that idea of just players going to Italy to kind of rejuvenate themselves. You know, look at Scott McTominay for Napoli.
My goodness,
Perfect
the
example
goal-
on the team already.
The goal he scored against Cagliari in that
Yes.
last day, my goodness.
Yeah.
And comparing to what we saw at United, tenfold
Right.
better in terms
Right.
of his level.
I do think we've already seen the best of De Bruyne, but I think he
I
still
agree.
has a lot more to offer still on the
He,
table.
he is not done at the highest level. Talk about winning so many trophies. That's what, 6 Premier Leagues that he won during his time at City.
Wow.
2
Champions
FA Cups.
League.
I mean,
Club World Cup.
5 Carabao Cups, 2 Community Shields, 1 Champions League, 1 Super Cup, 1 Club World Cup.
He won what he needed to win at City.
Did you get the point there?
Yeah.
I mean, just a City legend, a Premier League legend. Talk
Yes.
about the best 10s to have ever graced English football. He's in the conversation, 100%.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he couldn't score in his last game at the Etihad. I mean, he had a point blank
Oh, my
opportunity.
goodness.
Did it bobble? Yes. Did he drag his feet? Yes. But you would expect him to put it away. Of course, the occasion was in his mind and all that. He saw the headlines first, but an incredible career for Kevin De Bruyne at Man City. It's the end of the era, not just at City, but also certain Luka Modric at Real Madrid.
That one hurts a little bit more.
Tears were flowing
Yeah.
at the Bernabeu because, of course, Ancelotti also saying goodbye. But Luka Modric, Ballon d'Or winner, Champions League winner, times that by what, like 4 or 5 or even
One
more.
of the best midfielders of all time.
I don't debate that. Forget his Tottenham days. At Real Madrid, I have to get that in. Forget that. No, but at Real Madrid, I mean, he is one of. He's just a word that comes to mind is maestro.
Oh yeah, it's just a pure.
Oh.
He's an artist with the
Yes,
ball.
he is.
He's done so many incredible things with the ball. I mean, man, it's just even not just at Madrid, but even at the international level with Croatia, right?
Taking them
It
to
doesn't-
a
you know, some
World Cup final.
Some players they can't translate for one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can perform exceptionally well for club, but maybe not for national team. Modric has been all around an amazing, unreal player. He has done so much, you know. He has won literally almost everything and anything to win at the club level. He's got all the accolades. I'm looking at this list. What is this?
I mean, you gotta scroll
What is
for
this?
days. I mean,
What
it's,
is this?
It is
What
insane.
is this? What is that? What is that?
It's insane.
Look at that. Like, what is all this?
That doesn't happen.
Think about it.
That doesn't happen.
That is unreal. Unreal.
I mean,
It's just It's just heartbreaking to see him leave Madrid. Man.
13-time Croatian footballer of the year.
I mean
13.
Yeah.
That tells you all you need to know. Just winning all the accolades from on the team level, on an
International level, individually, yes.
Yes. I mean, he's done it all. But what's his next move? Does he hang up the boots, or the rumor is, and you couldn't believe me, but it's a strong link. Ancelotti's son was his assistant coach at Real Madrid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had an interview at Rangers in Scotland. Looking good. Talks are progressing. And Modric might follow him.
Yeah, I don't see that. No. I don't know.
You're not buying it.
No, because he does not have to go. I still think he has a little bit more left to give to play. Maybe
At a higher level?
not starting, but he can still provide something for a bigger team. Like, let's be a little bit more honest. I'd rather see him.
wouldn't be surprised.
I'd rather see him. Honestly, I'd rather see him just retire. I think he's done everything.
Yeah.
He can retire. I think he should be happy with retiring at Madrid. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
maybe we can get another year or two out of him somewhere. Maybe he goes back to Croatia. Maybe he plays for, I don't know,
Zagreb,
Hajduk Split. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I would like to see him go back to Croatia, honestly. Give his people a good year and then hang up the boots. But man, it's so painful. It's so sad to see him leave Madrid, because that's literally what, we have grown up watching, essentially. And that's just crazy to think about, truly.
He leaves Lucas Vazquez, I believe it was, from that squad who won the Champions League back in
No, Vazquez is leaving as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But for now, he is the only remainder now from that Champions League 10 years ago now.
He'll be gone over the summer.
That legendary team. Incredible news for Modric. Don't be surprised if he's putting on a blue shirt and it has a Rangers badge. I'm just saying.
I just don't see that. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me.
Let's move to some that haven't been confirmed, though, and Liverpool are making moves early. Florian Wirtz, what a player, and I think this move makes complete sense. So does Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth. I like this from Liverpool.
I like Wirtz. I think he would fit in.
They're putting the foot down.
Yes, I think he fits in. I think he would fit Liverpool quite nicely.
I do.
I'd love to see him in the nice Adidas red now.
Yes.
Beautiful, clean. I think it suits him. And I like his style of play. Obviously, Germany's a little bit different. Premier League's a bit more direct, I think, and a bit more attacking.
I think it'll suit him.
A bit more physical, but I think he'll thrive. I think he can thrive easily, especially in Liverpool. Liverpool's very good.
Talk about Bournemouth. Yeah. They're going to get, they're getting all their best players picked off of them.
Yeah.
Dean Howson to Madrid. Milos Kerkez, the left back, to Liverpool. I think it's also a great move. He had an incredible season at Bournemouth.
Bournemouth had a good year for Bournemouth standards. A lot
They were
better.
fighting for Europe.
Yes,
most
they
of the
were.
Year.
They were.
Unfortunately for them, they missed out.
At points in time, they're there. They're much.
Yes,
absolutely. Very competitive.
Absolutely. So Kerkez and Wirtz looking good to play in the red of Liverpool. How about the red of Arsenal? Martin Zubimendi.
Yes, this was a big one for you you've been waiting to hear.
Look, I like it. Jorginho's leaving to Flamengo. He's going back to Brazil. I think this makes complete sense. You have Zubimendi, Rice, and Edgar in your midfield. I'll take that all day.
Yeah, again, the only question mark I think for Arsenal is obviously the number 9 up top. That's it.
Yes. But it's a good start to the summer.
Yes,
it gives me hope that we're willing to spend.
Yes, that's just the one key that's left for Arsenal. I know we've said this 100 times, but it's that's it. Find a good 9. That's all you got to do.
But that has to be the focus after this. I like our early move. Zubimendi should be getting confirmed.
I know we talked about this off camera.
Yeah.
But just quickly, since we're on the topic of strikers, Julian Alvarez.
I would take him. I'm desperate.
Yes, he is a brilliant striker. He's a brilliant striker. What I told you is I just think he's a little bit. I just think he's too good for Arsenal. I just don't see him. He's one of those players where you just can't imagine, in certain colors. I can't imagine him in Arsenal. I really can't.
You've seen look. You've seen Gabriel Jesus switch City for us.
Yeah, and he hasn't been good.
You've seen Zinchenko switch it. You've seen this happen before. In the Arteta era?
Yeah, I know, but it's I've never liked those moves though. But I feel like that's just pure bias.
Julian Alvarez changed his mind.
But I love Alvarez. I just don't know where he would really go outside of Atletico, No,
I'm kidding. I still want Gyökeres.
How much is the price tag though? That's the question. That's the question. Because Gyökeres would be amazing as well. Yeah. But you gotta weigh the options, I guess.
Look, I cannot wait for there to be a Fabrizio Romano notification.
Here we go.
He does the edits in the new team colors.
Yes.
I don't care who it is. Just get us a 9,
Just get us a 9.
Please, we are waiting for it. But Zubimendi, great start. I think it's an upgrade in the midfield. Thomas Partey also in contract talks as well. So if we extend him, beautiful forward in the midfield. I'm happy with it. Ronaldo, though, with a little cryptic Instagram post to finish things off. He said, quote, "This chapter is over. The story's still being written."
Where does he go?
Is he going out of Al Nassr?
I've seen maybe to Al Hilal. I've seen MLS. I've seen Portugal. I don't know.
I've seen Botafogo. I've seen Monterrey.
Who knows? Literally, who knows what this man is going to do? Because I think he wants to chase that 1,000-goal mark. He wants to chase it.
He's not going to finish until he does that.
He's not exactly.
He's that type
so
of
he
person.
knows. So who knows where he goes Japan, China, who knows? Like, he could go anywhere, I feel. He has that pedigree, but it's also like, now what's the risk of having somebody like him on the team that we've seen, have, where do you want to, because he wants to start, he wants to play every game, but you have to understand, okay, dude's 40, this is not the Ronaldo of even 5-10 years ago, What do you really do in this scenario?
I have even seen links to the Moroccan side, Al Wydad. Just to play in the Club World Cup.
Interesting.
And who would have thought that?
You have so many other. Go to I don't know. What are we doing?
Who would have thought though that after he left Real Madrid, he would be moving clubs every couple of years?
I mean, that's just how it went, right? Yeah, I don't know really what happened, but I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. I don't know, next few weeks. I'm sure we'll get something, but it's gonna be very, very, very fun times. Transfer window is always fun.
Oh my goodness, it's silly season like they call it in F1. I think it's perfectly suitable for football this year. He didn't win anything at Al Nassr.
No,
this season.
Same kind of with Juventus as well. Yeah. I mean, nothing major, and Al Nassr.
But it's gonna be tough to leave that money.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen a lot of him potentially going to Al Hilal, who are at least competitive.
Wow.
In Saudi, in Asia in general.
Imagine ruffling those feathers.
I don't know. That'd be the drama. And one more thing I want to squeeze into this segment, that I need to talk about.
Last word to you.
Orlando City, real quick.
Oh, let's move it over
at the time of recording, we play Atlanta tonight. Away, Atlanta have been pretty bad this year. I remember saying that they were going to be good. I was obviously wrong. But we can extend our unbeaten run in MLS to 13. Our record we're on our record at 12. We beat Portland last weekend, 1-0.
So an all-time record.
An all-time record.
Wow.
And it's doable because this is a pretty bad Atlanta side, and also because I put money on it, so they better, So, but here's the thing: this has been an Orlando City side that I have not seen start off the season. I keep forgetting we've only lost 2 games.
It's crazy.
It just felt like more because we've drawn a lot. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, it feels like a loss. Yeah. There's been like 4 0-0 losses that obviously I already know in the back of my head that's going to catch up one way or another later down the line, but we've already climbed back because we were kind of struggling near 8th, 7th, 9th place for a couple weeks, but we've already kind of climbed back. We're already 3 points off from the top of the East.
Behind the Union. We're
tied on Nashville and Columbus at 27. We're sitting in 4th place. Orlando City, this is the best I've seen them start a season ever. Because we're so used to seeing them start so poor and slow.
And then it's at the end where they turn it on.
I don't think they're still firing on 100% all cylinders. We're still suffering with injuries. Mm-hmm. We're still a couple clicks away. Angulo, he's still not good. But it's like, we're so close to really what I've been saying for years. Being that championship caliber team that from match day 1 is all firing on all cylinders, on all aspects. Yep. We're very close. So tonight could be a new monumental point, extending that unbeaten run to new heights. And then we have Chicago on the weekend. So we have you don't understand. This schedule has been the most favorable I think it will ever be. Yeah. And we've more or less capitalized on it. That's all I have to say for now. But it's just, they're doing me proud. They're doing me proud.
Someone's happy to my left-hand side.
I haven't complained. Well, okay, I'm always going to complain about them. But I haven't complained about them as much as I usually do at this point in the season. That's my point.
Sure. And if they win at the Benz tonight, like you said,
13
another game we can look back on next week, it's looking very good.
Yeah, it's looking very positive.
So, and again, huge matchups all over MLS, so we'll absolutely be keeping an eye on all of the midweek action. But, unfortunately, that is all of the time we have for this week's edition. So much going on, even when the season is over, right?
It never stops. It never stops.
Never does. It really doesn't. Make sure to tune in next week for another bumper edition of the NONA Sports Show. If you haven't already, have a look at all the
honestly,
unrestricted stuff.
at this point,
the Scott Calabrese podcast.
At this point,
at
Edgar,
everything.
we might need to be doing this show like twice a week because
my
there's
goodness.
so much. We got Club World Cup, USL
It's a lot, man.
any other leagues that are playing during the summer, transfers. There's
So much.
Or these episodes are gonna have to be like 2 hours long.
Stay
Just letting you know.
tuned. Stay tuned for all
Unrestricted.
of the action. Yes.
Watch
Yes. He wants you to watch it, so watch it. You've been doing a great job, by the way,
Thank you.
so congratulations with that. Let's keep it going, though. We'll see you next week. Take care.